So we are Oxford Technology, and we specialise investing in startup science businesses in and around Oxford. And we've done this for 30 years, more than 30 years. My first fund was in 1983, and we're currently taking advantage of the SEIS scheme, which, as I expect you know, is the most tax-efficient scheme there's ever been for investing. You get 50% of your investment back against your income tax on an investment. And the government's doing that to encourage you to invest in high-risk startups, which is exactly what we do. And my partner is Andrea, Mica. Here we are. So that's me, and there's Andrea, Mica. Andrea is brilliant. I cannot tell you how good he is at this job. I mainly sit in the office admiring him at work. And the third person is Chenji. So I'm the sort of old founder. Andrea's in mid-career, and Chenji graduated from Oxford in engineering 3 years ago, and she worked for us for a bit, and now she's gone to China. So we've got an outlet in China, and her role there is to help our companies find sales and investment in China. It's obviously a huge market, and we hope the Brexit ministers approve of this, this approach.
So Lucius has been the longest-running investor in this field. He started in 1983 and caused things like sophisticated investor to be created in order to enable what he's been doing. Yep. We started this 4 years ago when SEIS started. We've invested in 25 companies so far, and it's going very well. Part of that reason is that Lucius and I have created a lot of goodwill amongst companies. We work very hard to help the companies do well, and that's recognized. Companies choose to be invested in by us. They come and speak to us. There have been companies who've said, we won't speak to anyone else until we've concluded our investment discussions with you. And the reason is we support the companies, and we try to make them successful, and often we succeed. There's some of the statements, we can't change the price, but we'll give you options on top of your shares in order to get you into this round, because we know you're useful investors. We're based on the Science Park in Oxford, so we're close to a lot of good science. We make sure that we don't have to travel too far to get to the good companies, and that way we can help them do what they do. And we'll show you what kind of companies and how the companies we've invested in have done. So we started in 2012 within this fund, which is Lucius's 12th fund. We invested in Run3D, which is a company that analyzes gait for runners.
This is what, just to explain, there are 3 bars here, and this shows the total investment. This shows the net cost of investment, that's after tax relief. And this shows the fair value. So in this case, we invested £100,000. There was £50,000 of tax relief back to the investors. So this is showing a gain to the investors of £50,000. So now we're going to click through this chart, and you can see how the values have changed each quarter since we started.
So as we go through, we're investing in more companies, investing more money in the companies. Oh,
this is showing the gain, the gain on paper only so far, but nevertheless, yeah.
Yeah. Lightpoint's starting to show some good results. More money coming in. We're investing in a larger number of companies. We only revalue them when an investor makes a new investment and gives it a new share price. If a company's achieved something amazing but hasn't raised more money, we don't change the share price. Lightpoint raised some more money. Combat raised some more money. Its bladder cancer treatment started to get adopted in the UK. As we went on, 2015, Lightpoint was doing very well. First company in the world to enable surgeons to see cancer in an operating theatre. Continued. Expend, that new peak there, is a payment solution that enables your expenses to be done automatically. It also has other advantages for companies that are trying to manage their employees' expenses. We're told by someone at Microsoft that they reckon it would save half a man person a month to do this. And what was the total value they suggested, Lucius?
About 40 million, they
40
thought,
million.
but it was a bit of a throwaway line. I don't know.
As you can see, Lightpoint continued to do very well. We think it will be transformative for cancer surgery. It's gone up Q3, made some new investments. You say Combat Medical's doing very well. And there we are.
That's up to date now.
4.5 years on. The net profit, if you like, is 3.6 million.
But it's all on paper.
It's all on paper, no exits yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't expect there to be any major exits for a while. They might start happening, but they haven't been there yet. Things might not go as well as this in the future. It might go wrong. This is all very risky, very illiquid, very long term. But you might just be helping create some of the companies of the future. You might just come away with some really big returns. That's why we're doing it.
Okay. So,
they said that companies like what we do. They like the support we give them, whether it's technological, accounting. That's usually just pointing at an accountant. We're not very good accountants ourselves. Or moral, supporting them, helping them do well, helping them raise the next round of money at better valuation.
okay. So now we'll talk about just a couple of examples of companies. So this is one. This is called Metal Powder and Process. And this stems from an investment which I made 30 years ago. I was approached by an engineer, and he wanted £30,000 to build a machine that would make powdered metal by gas atomization. And this is such a machine. Big machines, 3 stories high, and you melt metal at the top, blast it with supersonic argon, and you turn it into dust. And you use metal powder to manufacture things like gear wheels in cars. 100 years ago, you started with the blank, and you cut out each tooth. Now you take powdered metal and hip it, and you get your gear wheel. It's stronger, more accurate, and much cheaper. It turned out that I invested the £30,000. It was the only money that was needed. That company is now one of the 2 leading companies in the world making these machines, which we sell all over the world for typically £2 million a time. We sell them in China, in the States, in Germany, all over. And because we've been developing the machines, we've got the best technology. So I've been having an argument with the founder for the last 30 years, saying, we ought to produce powder, not sell the machines. And finally, he agreed to that. And I then rang out the revenue and said, can we invest in this as a new company? And they said, oh, yes, that's fine, because it's a new business selling powder. It's not the same. So they were very helpful. So we made an SEIS investment in this company called Metal Powder and Process. And this is the atomizer that we've got. And this is, we've just now got our first order, which is for more than £1 million for a particular alloy which we've been developing for a company overseas. And that's what we're doing. And we're not producing routine powder, we're producing specialist powder, high-value powder. Anyway, so the value of that company hasn't changed, despite it getting its order, because it hasn't raised any more money. But we believe it's considerably more valuable now than it was at the time we invested.
Combat Medical helps treat bladder cancer, and it changes the odds for bladder cancer patients from a 1 in 4 chance of not having further cancer to a 1 in 4 chance of having it. So you pretty much change it around. It's very good. They've done 15,000 treatments since we invested in them, and we're waiting for the company to progress.
Well, we should say it's now on sale in 30 countries
around
the world, and we hope it's going to become the global standard of care, in which case it'll become very valuable.
And our offerings are these 3. We invest in SEIS for you in the first year, and then follow up with 2 years of EIS investment. If you have more than 100,000 to invest, we can do that all in 1 year rather than spread over 3 years, although our 3-year product is what we think gives us the advantage over other investors. And if you have the desire to invest just in EIS, we can do that within the tax year. We're making some investments before the 5th of April. If that's what you'd like to do, you can come and talk to us. We'll be up at stand 39. Thank you very much.
Thank you.